Hi, I'm Mosik and you're watching Artist Life. Welcome to my studio. In today's episode, we're going to work on painting. So if you're ready, grab your supplies and here we go. Before we start painting, these are some of the supplies we need. A 11 by 14 canvas, acrylic, cadmium red, ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, yellow ochre, cadmium red, alizarin red, ivory black, titanium white. You can use liquid or Galkite for drying medium, palette paper, odorless turpenoid, number 2 and a number 6 flat bristle brush, a detail brush, and a palette knife. Here on the left side is a painting that was done by Monet of the Porte des Amants in rough weather. It's almost like a huge elephant dipping its trunk into the waves, and on the right side is a silhouette picture of the elephant shape of the Porte des Amants. I'm so ready to start this painting. The canvas I'm using is a recycled canvas which I applied red acrylic paint. If you notice, I'm starting my drawing by indicating where the horizon line is. Then I'm building my main shapes off of that, like the shoreline, the mountain at the distance. Since I'm done with my basic drawing, I always like to loosely block in my sky. I'm using a little bit of phthalo blue with mostly white. Now, please notice that I'm keeping this very loose throughout the painting. I'm going to try to hold on to the red by not completely covering it up with other colors. I always like to block in the large areas. Once I'm done with the sky, I'm blocking in the water by using phthalo blue, a little bit of ivory black, and white. Notice what I'm doing? I'm using white to indicate where the shore line is. Okay, time for the mountain. I've made gray by using phthalo blue, black, and white. My brush strokes are more like a scrub, which means thinning the paint and applying it loosely on the canvas. I'm using yellow ochre and white to once again block in the sand. As a reminder, you can always use liquid or Galkite throughout your painting session to speed up the drying time. If you notice, the sand that's closer to the water is darker, so I've added cad red and a little bit of black. Still keep your paints very loose and very thin. I love using palette knife because it allows me to use more paint, and at the same time it helps me to keep my painting loose. Have you noticed that I'm using my own colors? You know, as a painter, expressing yourself on the canvas by using your own colors is one of the most important things you can do. This will define you from different artists. You're probably asking why I'm using such a dark color on the mountain. Well, eventually I'll tone it down when I apply other colors like gray, browns, blues, so forth. There are so many ways of making browns. You can use all three primary colors that will eventually give you brown. But one of my favorite ways of making brown is by using ivory black and cad red. Sometimes vermilion red will do that as well. When I apply the paint, I'm only trying to hold on to my drawing by painting only the areas that are of interest, of course. I'm using Galkite with my paint. I really love the way it feels. Not too tacky, but smooth. Please don't hesitate to apply paint. Just have fun with it. I think when you're hesitant, you won't be able to really express yourself. You probably had a chance to glance at Monet's painting by now. His palette is definitely different than mine, isn't it? Also, the actual photo in the middle is definitely different than both of our paintings. The idea is that you use your imagination and pull your viewers in another world, your world, by using your own colors, your own texture, your own technique. Eventually, the more you paint, the better this will become. Do you notice the brown I got? As I mentioned earlier, the way you can make the brown is with cad red and black. I'm using this brown as highlights on the mountain. Putting changes will also give me a three-dimensional look. Also, if you notice the sand, I've added some brown textures to it. When you're using your knife, don't spread the paint, but just try to apply the colors that you want. The reason I'm applying light blue to the waves by the shore is so I can come back later and use titanium white to create the effect of the moving water. Again, the blue I'm using is phthalo blue and a lot of titanium white. You can use a lot of paint at this point. You see how I'm pulling the paint with the brush? Try to always pull your paint on the canvas. Don't push against the canvas with your brush, but apply the paint on the canvas, and do you see how it's gliding? I love the fact that I can build up texture on my canvas. This color that I'm using is yellow ochre and a little bit of black. I'm just spreading it. You can tell it's thin, so the red is seeping through. Okay, I'm going to put yellow ochre highlights on the mountain to start creating some depth. Again, do you see that my brush strokes that I'm applying is horizontal? The existing brush strokes that I have were vertical. So it's creating an interesting change. By the way, I just want to take this time to thank you guys, the viewers. If you have any questions, or if you would like me to show you how a certain artist might have painted, the website address is on your screen. I'll be more than happy to do a demonstration with the artist of your choice of how they might have painted. I'll even do a shout out mentioning your name. What about that? Okay, so if you notice, I'm applying some gray, and I almost forgot this mountain has a little opening. It is starting to look like an elephant, isn't it? I think this yellow ochre as my lightest area will create a three-dimensional look. Also, it'll create a balance with the colors. Since the sand is yellow ochre, I think I'll put the same color on the water. Back to palette knife. See this area? Want to emphasize the way the horizontal textures are. Okay, let's put some of this dark color on the yellow ochre. And right here is dark, which separates the mountain from the water. Back to grays, this time darker. So what I'm doing now is softening all the hard edges. On another note, if you really want to paint along with me, you can always subscribe to my YouTube channel, Artist Life TV Show. Don't forget to like. I think what I'm going to do is work on the yellow ochre again. The reason why I'm putting lighter ochre here is because it'll help me with what I have already on the lower right corner of the canvas. I love what the yellow ochre is doing here. I'm not trying to get rid of the existing color, just trying to lighten things up a bit. If you notice, I'm pulling the knife upward. Love the texture it's creating. I'm putting this light pale green on the sand. Again, this is just to create harmony. I think the water needs work, so let's thinly apply light blue on the water. And the way I got the light blue was, again, ultramarine blue with a little bit of white. and that'll do it. I'm going to get rid of the yellow and put light blue instead. I think it'll look better. But if you notice, I kept the cast shadow. What I'm using now is ultramarine blue and white. I love the fact that I can always go back and fix my drawing. I want to lighten up the water by the shore. As you're painting, always keep a few things in mind. Your drawing, your value or tones, and your colors. Frequently going back and forth from these three important steps will ensure that you have a really nice, balanced painting. Okay, back to my palette knife. I'm just putting different changes in the sky. I love how I can go back and forth from palette knife to brush. I use the brush to soften the edges sometimes. Wow, I'm having so much fun with this painting, and I'm really glad that you were able to join me. So please, if you have any questions about the episode, my contact information is on the screen. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Artist Life. I love to hear all your comments and your questions. So, the contact information is on your screen. Till next time. Happy painting. Bye.